Wayzata High School, we've got a lacrosse doubleheader, boys then girls. It is Wayzata hosting Hopkins. I'm Steve Thompson along with Dan Ficken. And Dan, on paper, looks like a mismatch in this one with Wayzata and Hopkins, but that's why we planned. These two teams met earlier in the year, and Wayzata rolled to a 23-3 victory at Hopkins on April 24th. It's been a long year for Hopkins, and Wayzata, they've had their ups and downs, but they're getting everyone back.
Well, consistency is the issue with the Wayzata Trojans, but could be a premier team and will definitely be one of the top seeds in the section going in. They got a good test coming up. Their last game, their next game against Blaine, the Bengals, who are a pretty good team up in the Northwest Suburban. Hopkins, when lacrosse got started here in the state, they had some really fine teams and contended for state titles and stuff, and it's fallen off. They're 0-11 right now, and they're really struggling hard. A lot of things in their game aren't there. The skill players aren't there, so they're kind of in a rebuilding process, but this is a late conference battle, and if they take it quarter by quarter, goal by goal, who knows? I've seen stranger things happen, but we'll see if they can battle back.
Yeah, and Wayzata coming off a very big win over number 4 Chanhassen in their last game. The final there was 7-6, and I had a chance to visit with Chad Herr before the game, and he was thrilled with that performance. And he said if we can get everyone back, they've had some injuries, they've had some guys out, and if they can get everyone on the field here at the end of the regular season, they can do some damage in the playoffs, and that win over Chan was proof.
Yes, they definitely can. I mean, they've got one of the premier players in the state, number 22, Braden Nelson. He's a sophomore, and he's got 32 points, 19 goals, and he's been already pegged by a lot of the colleges out east. It'll be interesting to see who he commits to a few years. Their goalie, who is not playing today, Will Rambert, is one of the best in the state. He's rated in the top 3 overall. They've got some really good players, and very good on their face-offs. They usually win 64% of their face-offs with number 1 Chris Thomas is one of the best Fogos in the state. So we're ready to get going here, and we'll see what happens.
Matt Mayberry in goal today for the Trojans, and the draw is underway, and it's controlled by Wayzata. By the way, the Hopkins goalie Ben Surstock, head coach Todd Frickman talked about how well he's played. He's faced a barrage of shots, but still has that save percentage over 60%. And Dan, you talk about a save percentage in lacrosse over 60% is pretty good.
Yeah, they've given up 159 goals, and they've given up well over double that in shots. So, he's probably seen lacrosse balls in his dreams.
All right, here's Wayzata getting set up in the box. They work it around the perimeter. Dalton C's had it. Now they go down behind the net. And that's Riley Nelson, and they're going to try and get it set up. And of course, they dominated the first game, as we pointed out, right out of the gate, 23-3. In that first game of the season. They charge toward the net. Now they try and get it in front. Ball is down, and it's picked up there by Braden Nelson, that super sophomore. Keep an eye on him. 19 goals, 13 assists, 32 points. And as Dan talked about, one of the top sophomores in the state.
Yeah, up front, they've got 3 very good players in Nelson, Dalton C's, and Riley Nelson, the senior. And at attack and midfield. So they're a pretty potent group. They put a lot of goals in, close to over 50 goals, actually.
Brooks Hansen had a touch on the left side. They get a little more aggressive. Here's Hansen again. He doesn't have any room, and as you expect, Hopkins has it packed in real tight in front of their goaltender.
Good strategy, too. They just let them have the perimeter, but just stop anything inside. Make them shoot from the outside. And with a goalie with 60% save percentage like Hopkins got, he's going to do a good job at stopping those shots.
Here's Braden Nelson, uncorks a shot from the right side, misses the net. Wayzata's going to hang on. A couple of minutes into this one on this Thursday afternoon here on the CCX. Girls coming up later on. And Jay Wilcox will join Dan for the call on that one tonight here on CCX.
Looks like we're going to get some favorable weather. They haven't seen any rain for a while. Doesn't look real threatening.
Yeah, and what a break. There's a shot from Solly. Alexander Solly, 13 goals, 12 assists, ripped one wide of the net. So they haven't been able to get one on the goaltender, Surstock. And this kid has faced a lot of shots this year. You look at the season rundown for Hopkins, and it has been a barrage at times. But you look at the Lake Conference with the likes of Eden Prairie and Minnetonka, and then, of course, Wayzata, a very good team. Wayzata ranked number 13 right now.
Yeah, they've kind of dropped out of the top 10 because of that inconsistency. Nice save right there. Good shot. That was fairly close in. Did a good job.
Zerstock with the save, and now Hopkins gets a chance as they come back the other way. Jackson James, a midfielder who, of course, their coach Todd Frickman talked about and said this kid has a really good future. Well, he is a youngster.
He did a nice clear there, a really nice clear, and took control of it. Now here's the key right here, Steve, what we're looking at. They've got to control the ball. The less time Wayzata has in the attack zone, the less time they had to put up 23 goals. And so turnovers again. We've talked about turnovers in previous games, and that was just an unforced turnover, a bad pass. And we get a good look at a shot here and a save. Right there. Good opportunity, good play, but a nice save. He looks real cool and calm, doesn't he? He looks like he's got a 60% save percentage.
Yeah, he's got some experience back there for sure. A lot of shots. Let's see what Wayzata does off the turnover. Now we got a flag away from the play. And Wayzata's going to get it back. And let's see what Braden Nelson does. Leading scorer for the Trojans over there on the right side. Tries to look into the middle. And no one home. And now they working on the perimeter, and now they turn it over, and Hopkins is gonna get it back. And
well, there's going to be a penalty, I think. Yeah, once the ball hits the ground after the flag hits, then the penalty's called. So it didn't make any difference if Wayzata lost the ball. They're going to get possession back, and now we'll see the Hopkins player come, and I didn't see the signal for it.
Schreck's gonna, I believe, take. Well, let's see who's gonna take a knee here for the Royals.
Number 12,
Zachany. Xavier Zachany is going to, so man up here for Wayzata. Just like a delayed penalty in hockey.
Yeah.
Let's see what Wayzata does here as they work it around the perimeter. They get it out on top here. Seas gives it up quickly. Now a cutter coming right down the middle, and a great shot from outside. Solly scores. The junior is 14th of the year.
Boy, a nice setup play here, standing on a standard 1-3-2 invert here, coming through. But you see him crisscrossing, and then they reverse it, come back through, and got him wound up on his left side, and just a good left-handed shot there into his wheelhouse, and just rips it into the net. And I think he was screened a little bit there too. He kind of took it by surprise.
So Solly scores 14 goals now, 12 assists on the season. Wayzata the lead. The goal at 7:37 will go to the center of the field, get that face-off. And super important for Hopkins to be able to control a face-off, and as you point out, get set up and work that clock and try and stay in this game as long as they can.
This is kind of critical. Chris Thomas, the Wayzata Fogo, is won 120 out of 185 face-offs. I mean, that's 65% almost. Just brilliant. They win another one.
Here comes Wayzata on the move. They're going to set up over on the far side of the field. Riley Nelson. Excuse me, that's Braden. Now behind the net to Riley, and they come to the near side. Brooks Hansen. Those guys are going to handle it a ton. Christopher Thury with 10 goals on the year for Thury. Another sophomore for Wayzata, and they've got to feel really good. Chad Herr's been around for 9 years, and he really thinks this team has a great future. Some good kids coming up. A lot of kids coming out as freshmen, and a big 8th grade class right now. So a lot of numbers here at Wayzata.
Well, just some numbers there, too. They've got 10th and 9th graders on this team. And then you said, too, they got a great 8th grade class coming in. It's going to push them. So they might be a major power for the next 4 to 5 years here.
Making a move there is Mark Quart. He was turned away, and now a cutter right down the middle. Boy, that was a beautiful play. Brooks Hansen gets his 11th of the year.
Boy, just a beautiful setup and play there. They're kind of working off that right side. You see a good move here, quick dodge, and then he'll bring it back. or bring it down, and then come across, back up top to a cutting player coming down the right side, and just rips one down inside.
Assist there to Braden Nelson. And for Braden, his 14th assist of the year. And now it's 2-0 Wayzata.
Yeah, you see what they're doing now is they're checking the stick, and they want to make sure it's not an illegal stick. And if it is, the player gets a penalty and the goal's disallowed. And they'll do it pretty much after every goal, and then they do it in between quarters and halves. They'll grab somebody's stick and just check it just to make sure that it's, because a lot of times you can do that webbing and stuff, so the ball will stick in it. And that's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
So.
And the boys and girls sticks are quite a bit different.
Oh, way different. The girls' stick is really hard to hold on to in a ball. When I was coaching the boys, they were laughing at the girls. I had them use girl sticks one time, and they weren't laughing after that because they couldn't keep the ball in the net.
Wayzata controls another one. Dalton Seas goes back to retrieve. And now Seas is going to bring it into the area of the box and get set up. And now he'll come further to the outside. And this is Solly. He had the first goal for the Trojans in white here on CCX, halfway through quarter number 1, and Wayzata the 2-0 lead. Once again, ranked number 13 right now. 4-3 in the lake, 6-4 overall. They're in a dead heat with Minnetonka. The Skippers are 4-3 as well. Eden Prairie atop the league at 7-0, and the Eagles are ranked number 3, 9-1. In the latest poll, they've got a couple of wins under their belts.
It'll be interesting to see. It's really tough. I don't care what sport you're playing in the Lake Conference. It's always tough playing in the Lake Conference because pretty much every team is rated somewhat. Hopkins has been down a little bit over the past few years, but overall, that's a murderous small conference to be a part of.
Well, there's a story in the Star Tribune today about Edina Minnetonka ranked among the nation's best public schools for athletes. And Wayzata came in at number 4. This is nationwide. Minnetonka 9, Edina 23, Wayzata 42. How about that? All in one league.
Man, oh man. Well, you look at their programs, and of course they're looking at, kids going on to college too. Most of the kids in each of these schools do go to college.
Here's Seas on the perimeter, gets it further down to the left, and Solly behind the net. Here's Riley Nelson over on the right. Brother Braden. It's got to be a thrill for these brothers to play together.
Oh, absolutely. That's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
They get it in the middle in a good spot, and a flag. Ball is down. Let's see what the penalty is here. But Brooks Hansen uncorked one inside, but it was blocked down. Let's see what the deal is here.
Look like a team. You'll watch the stick come up into the face here, and I think that's what they called right there. They made the call there, so it'll probably be a minute off. But, Hopkins got a little more aggressive that time on defense. It started going after him instead of just sitting back and waiting to react to what Wayzata was doing. They were trying to force play a little bit. So, and the goalie came up with a nice save again, too.
John O'Dino will sit down. And Wayzata man up, leading 2-0. Let's see what they do. They work it behind the net. Braden, Riley Nelson play catch, cutting in from the right side, and a quick shot and a goal. Dalton Seas, and Wayzata leads at 3-0. Boy, that was beautiful ball movement there, Dan.
Yeah, they're just, and that's what I like about this team, too. It's ball movement. They're not moving around a lot themselves, but they're making enough moves and moving the ball constantly to keep everybody a little off guard, and it created an opening right there, and he came in from an angle and hit the nice shot with a high-low shot into the lower part of the right side of the net.
So Seas goal number 17, the assist there to Riley Nelson, number 10, 3-0 Wayzata, 4:11 to go here in quarter number 1. And Wayzata has had the ball over the first 8 minutes for probably 750 of that.
Yeah.
Hopkins had it for a moment in the offensive zone, and now they're going to get it. Let's see what they do with it here. They can get set up. Adam Cochran with it. Cochran's going to go to the far side, and they turn it over. They try to get it over to Leo Reuter. Too high for Reuter. So 2 turnovers on Hopkins. And here comes Wayzata again.
Yeah, it's just killing him. And then again, another unforced error. Just threw it right over the top of him and didn't have his feet planted. And these are just some fundamental mistakes. Get your feet planted before you throw the ball, otherwise it'll get elevated on you. And Wayzata, I think that might be the first turnover that they've had unforced.
Yeah, it is. First turnover down there, a little too far for Braden Nelson. So Hopkins is going to get an opportunity. The Royals in blue. And let's see what they can do. And now they go a little too far for the goaltender. Ball comes to the near side. The goaltender has to retreat. Goes out of bounds. And just like that, 3 turnovers on the Royals. Boy, that was an opportunity miss.
The most successful clear they've had was just running the ball up. Mr. Jackson just taking it by himself.
Riley Nelson gets it down behind the net to Brooks Hansen. Now over to the far side, and Braden Nelson. And now they come out on top, and it looks like Wayzata may have thrown one away, and they did. They tried to hit Luke Marquardt, but no good, so the team's trading turnovers right now.
Sometimes, this might have been part of what Wayzata's been going through this year. They tend to play down a little bit to the team they're playing, and when they play really good, then they really play up and play to their potential. So, little break for Hopkins here.
And they probably, saw or remember the fact they beat these guys 23-3.
Yep.
Not that long ago on April 24th, and that's a factor in all sports.
Absolutely.
And then there's Hopkins. They can't flag one down again. A turnover on the far side. Carter DeBlack couldn't flag it down. Or excuse me.
Might be a good time for Coach Fricklin. Maybe just call a timeout and just settle the guys down and just say, dudes, look, you got open players to get to. Don't, they're just gripping their sticks really tight right now, Steve. And it's tough when you're 0-11, and I can understand that. But, take each game as it comes. Oh, my gosh.
And here's Wayzata with the turnover behind the net. As Braden Nelson tried to get it right behind the net to Brooks Hansen. He couldn't flag it down. Now there is a bit of a breeze, but I can't imagine the wind is a huge factor right now. As these teams just throw the ball around and can't get a handle on it whatsoever. I don't think I've seen it so far this season. This is probably the 6th or 7th lacrosse game I've seen on the boys' side. This is probably the biggest flurry of turnovers I've seen so far. Here's Solly with it. And now he gets it a little bit further out. Andrew to Alexander. Now over on the right side, Braden Nelson. Now Brother Riley. Hopkins a little more aggressive defensively as they get out and try and challenge the ball. They might give Wayzata some room, and on the charge here, Dalton Sees. They go across as they try and work the ball around and get that defense on the move.
There we go. Excellent. I mean, that little D midfielder there got a little aggressive, and he got a stick onto the hands of the Wayzata Trojan, disrupting him a little bit. They need to do a little bit more of that.
John Dion, a pretty good play there. And now here is Wayzata. There is a flag on the field. I would assume this is going to go on Hopkins as they get it in front. Now they whistle it down.
All right, technical foul. I think there's a mouth guard violation there. Yeah.
That's what we heard on our mics, and taking a knee there is Hopkins player.
We don't have a 20 on the roster here.
We don't have a 20 on the roster, but he's going to take a knee anyway.
Yeah.
And now the third man up for Wayzata. They lead at 3-0, 1:27 to go here in the first quarter. They work it out on top. Here's Sees. They get it left to the net. Beautiful play cutting in and a save by the goaltender, Surstock. Boy, he's been up to the task. He's made a couple of good saves in this game.
I'd give him credit for 4 good saves. Right now, he's done a very good job, and a lot of it's been in tight, too.
Lobs it way down the field to clear the zone, but Wayzata is able to retrieve. Now, Matt Mayberry, the backup goalie, has a little trouble with it. Mayberry's going to fire it out toward the center of the field. Good catch on the run there by Christopher Theory. And Theory's going to get it ahead to the middle. And now on the charge, it's Sees. Sees is turned away. And now he'll get it out on the wing right. And now cutting right into the scoring zone in front of the net. And an easy goal there for Wayzata and Alexander Solly. His 14th of the year and his 2nd of the game.
Well, Solly got open here, and he just beat his guy right here, and there was no slide coming. 18 was kind of standing there, and number 19, somebody's got to get aggressive and get over there and force the play. Just don't stand there and watch him. etc. I mean, he found the seam, and you got to be grounded. And one of the things D's do is that they'll yell hot, and then that means I'm the next guy. So if you get beat, I'm going to be the guy that's going to slide over to the guy that just beat you. And I'm not hearing a lot of talking out there from the Hopkins defense, and I'd like to see him get a little more aggressive, just for their own peace of mind. Get a little mad and get after these guys.
Alexander Asali is second of the game, second assist of the game for Braden Nelson. Here comes Wayzata again. They pass it over to the wing. Braden Nelson can't track it down. It'll be a Hopkins ball. So another turnover, and that on my count is the third turnover on Wayzata here in this quarter, and that's a little uncharacteristic. And of course, Hopkins has had all sorts of trouble in the turnover category. And now their goaltender, Ben Surstock, is going to trot out of there with under 20 to go here in quarter number one, with Wayzata leading at 4-0. And now they're hounding the ball back there as Wayzata tries to get it clear on the run. They shovel it back to the goaltender, and now they've got to stop.
Failure to advance. They have a certain amount of seconds to get it up above the half line, and they were going backwards. And nobody up front was moving for the Hopkins, and nobody would pass to.
There's a shot ripped right before the end of the quarter, and that's going to go out of play, and that's going to be it. Brooks Hansen made a bid for his second goal of the quarter, and now we have one in the books. It is Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse here on CCX, and Wayzata leads Hopkins 4-0. Quarter number two coming up in a moment.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
After one quarter, Wayzata leading Hopkins 4-0. It is Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse. Alexander Sally leading the way with 2 goals, 2 assists for sophomore Braden Nelson to bring his total on the season to 15. Wayzata's controlled play. Right now, Hopkins just has to maintain possession and settle things down a little bit. They've turned it over way too much and have had a hard time getting organized.
Yeah, right now it's just the big thing. They just control the ball a little bit, and for the time being, use your feet. Try and beat somebody clear, and once you get it across the half line, then start moving. But people got to get open, relax. If you're open, don't tighten your stick up. Just relax, throw it naturally, get your feet planted, do the right things fundamentally. Ball will go where it's supposed to go.
Matt Mayberry, the Wayzata goaltender, has been lonely, has not faced a shot. And on the other side, Ben Surstock, the Hopkins goaltender, he's done a really good job. It's 4-0, but I would say he's clearly been the player of the game for Hopkins. He's done a really nice job.
Absolutely. Done a great job, per se. You got to give him credit. He's seen a lot of balls, and he's still hanging in there. And he looks relaxed. He doesn't look all nerved out or anything like that. He's just playing his game and got a good attitude toward it. So it'd be interesting to see, Steve. You put him on Wayzata and see what happens. With a kid that good, making that amount of saves. That'd be interesting to see what would happen.
Yeah, I know. Todd Frickman, I spoke to him before the game, spoke very highly of his goaltender, and we've got a real battle here, and Wayzata comes out of there with a good play by Wayzata's Chris Thomas. And Chris Thomas, a sophomore, winning that draw and coming out of there. They get down to Mateo Thies, who will set it up on the right side. Now Riley Nelson behind the net. Brooks Hansen handles the ball a lot. Up front for Wayzata, they get it out to the far side, and Dalton Sees And now at the touch, Alexander Solly with the 2 goals in the game to lead Wayzata. And this is kind of how they started out quarter number 1. They really spread things out, Dan.
Yeah, but this time the Hopkins D is coming out after them a little bit more. They're not packing it in as much. They're playing that a little more aggressively. I'd like to see them sticks start getting into the hands of the Wayzata Trojans and start disrupting them.
Here's Solly with the charge, turned away by the double team, now goes behind the net. Quick pass out in front, no room for a shot. A little bit further out, one ripped and saved by Surstock. Thies with the big shot, and then Surstock with the save. How about that? Now, granted, Thies didn't change plane on that shot, and then he got a little help from his D as Matt Gerstner got it back to him. Kind of shoveled it back into the crease area.
I wonder if Surstock had stepped out of the crease, then stepped back into the crease once he had possession of the ball. That's unfortunate. I mean, he made a nice save there. He should have had control of it, and Hopkins should be on their way out of the zone now.
Here's Seas. He's going to carry it down to the goal line extended and work behind the net and get it set up. A couple of minutes in, or almost 2 minutes into quarter number 2. Here's a pass in front. Hansen rips a shot. That skips away. And Surstock may have got his stick on that one to deflect it away.
I think he did. He was ready for it. He came across real nice, and he had a clear view of it. But again, the Hopkins D, they weren't sliding over. Got caught up in all the motion that Wayzata was throwing at him. And they underbridged. He could really wind up and rip it.
Well, if you want to go back to the archive and see outstanding boys lacrosse defense, that Maple Grove Armstrong game we saw the other night, Dan, boy, those teams really D'd it up in that game. It was fun to watch.
I'm going to get a kick and see what happens in the state tournament. I know there's a good chance that either one of those teams is going to get into state and see how they play against some of these high-powered offenses and put that defense on some of these high-powered teams.
Get it out on the left. Sees with it. He has a goal. They get it into the middle. Of course, knocked away for the moment by Hopkins, but picked up by Wayzata, and the Trojans reset. They work it on the perimeter. They come to the near side. Andrew Solly gets it to Thies. Now back down behind the net. Losing the ball there is Wayzata. Could have been a turnover, but no, it was picked up by Riley Nelson. He kind of battled for that one and got it back. And now out on top it's Seas. Seas to the right of the net, a little too far for Thies. Went over his head. And whoa, what a save there by Riley Nelson. Nelson made a move to the front and then turned away. Boy, he danced right along the end line there.
He was a motor on that one, boy. I'll tell you, he went after it. Nice job.
He has an assist in the game. 14 goals, 10 assists now on the season. Dalton Seas with it on top. Hopkins kind of packs it in now defensively. They get a man in front of the net. And that one
nice
from
save.
Riley Nelson goes right in front. Surstock from a tough angle just grabbed it and now gave it up to the defender, and now he'll get it back. And Surstock's been willing to fling it way down the field and try and find an open man. He overshoots the intended receiver there, and it's picked up by Wayzata.
The long stick midi there he was shooting for should have been on the move, knowing he was throwing it over everybody. At least get farther down the field, or he could pick it up even if it bounced. Just didn't move fast enough.
Here's Alexander Solly, gets slashed right at midfield. The flag comes out, and the Hopkins Royal knows it. Leo Reuter comes out. They get it in front. Another save by Surstock. Boy, that was a golden scoring opportunity for Andrew Solly. And now he got to stop.
Boy, look at a nice play right there. Good play and nice save. Went off the stick. And a good save right in the guts. But you know, he's good and active with that stick, Steve. He uses that basket much to his advantage. I like the way he moves his body with it too. So if it gets past the basket, it's going to hit his body. And we're seeing it hit, a couple times off his shin bone and bounce real weird.
Leo Reuter takes a knee. And Wayzata goes a man up for the fourth time. Now we've got another flag here.
Got another technical foul. Technical foul. Delay a game. 30 seconds. So now there'll be 2 men down.
And you don't see that a ton in this game, and all the games I've seen this year. Haven't seen a team go 2 men down, and that's Thomas Radji, a junior, who will take a knee alongside his fellow junior teammate Leo Reuter. So here's Wayzata, 2 men up with a 4-0 lead. So we move midway at quarter number 2 here at Wayzata. Looks like we might see a little sun at some point, Dan. How about that?
Yes.
And there's a shot ripped by Brooks Hansen, his second of the game.
Again, he got an opportunity and just opened up. Look at how much he got a rip on it. And again, high-low. And
So Brooks Hansen gets his 12th goal of the year. The assist on that one, Dalton sees his first assist today and his 8th on the season. 5-0 Wayzata, 7:41. So they take advantage. 2 men up. They made quick work there, and Zerstock had no chance. And you know, we've seen it a lot this year in the games we've worked, Dan. When you get that ball down low at the goaltender's feet, it's really tough.
yeah. And when it bounces, you know, we didn't send it bounce so well. It came up and hit the bottom of the top pipe going across and within. So, yeah, it's tough for a goaltender to stop.
Off that center face-off, Chris Thomas battles, and then Zach Larry will pick it up. In the defensive zone, try and carry it ahead. We got a ball down, and now it's finally picked up there by Larry. Zach Larry, just a freshman. 1 of 3 on the varsity roster for Wayzata. He gets a little time. Good for him.
Yep, I would expect to see some of these younger players getting an opportunity here to play now if they haven't regularly here.
Here's Thies, a sophomore. So we're seeing more youngsters out there. Dalton Sees, a junior. Sees has a goal in each quarter now for Wayzata. We are getting that sun. I might have to break out the shades. I brought them just in case. I was optimistic today, Dan, that I'd need my shades.
Well, you and I seem to have good luck with that. We've always had pretty good games as far as weather-wise.
Yeah, so far so good. Here's Brooks Hansen further out. Braden Nelson, leading scorer for the Trojans, hasn't scored yet. He puts on a move, gets bumped, throws one behind the net. It's picked up there. Nice save by Thies.
Nice save by Thies. That was an excellent one-handed grab. There's another one.
Yeah, and that's a Braden Nelson, that sophomore. He's got a couple of assists in this one. And now Brooks Hansen looked like he wanted to uncork one.
Well, Braden Nelson isn't being that aggressive today. He's kind of standing back. They moved him around. He was on the left wing, then he was over on the right wing. Now they got him up top.
Marquardt further down to Thies. Now behind the net, here's Riley Nelson trying to make a move. He's turned away, bumped defensively there. Gerstner really fighting him behind the net. And now he tries to get in front, gets it outside to his brother, and he rips a shot. Braden Nelson, that goes well out of play, but Wayzata's going to hang on.
Well, there he got set up really nice. He just missed the net.
Now they set it up on the wing. Mateo Thies further outside, and here's Braden Nelson. Goal line extended near side. Riley Nelson. And now nice poke check there by Gerstner. He got it away for a moment, but Wayzata gets it back.
Really, you know, that's getting it on the hands. That's getting the long stick on the hands. It was a really good aggressive move. Hopkins needs to do more of this. They're just being a little too laid back with their sticks. And they need to get them into the face, into the hands, into the sticks of the Trojans. Just disrupt them.
Here's Theory. Now they work it behind the net. Riley Nelson gets a touch. Once again, they got Braden Nelson trying to find a seam out on top. Now he comes into the middle a little closer. They're trying to get him free, but Hopkins has been all over him. Now they come out to him. He handles a tough pass down low. He kind of pops it up in the air. That was nice stick work there. Thies now further down. And this is Brooks Hansen. Hansen's been dangerous. Couple of goals here. 2 goals for Solly.
What's nice to watch here, Steve, too, which I like about Chad Hurry's style of play. A lot of times they'll set a player up top, as we've seen in many games, and just watching the shot here come through and miss the net again, and try to dodge and just try to do, like, you know, a clear-out NBA style. These guys are playing a standard 2-3-1, and they're moving the ball around. They're not setting up dodges. They're looking for the guy open in the seam. I love the way this offense operates.
right, here's Braden Nelson. That shot, he gets it into the middle. Tough pass. Gets down low, but it's scooped up there by his brother Riley. And now Wayzata controls again as we go under 4 minutes to go in quarter number 2. Wayzata leads at 5-0. And they have controlled play. Hopkins has had very little time in the offensive zone. Well under a minute so far in this game, maybe 30 seconds. Wayzata's really dominated. Here's Braden Nelson, fakes a shot. And now gives it up a little further inside. Nice move by Thies to spin, loses the ball. And now the ball is down, and we got a battle. And Hopkins tries to come out of there with it, but Wayzata ruled in control.
Yeah, push him behind. And again, change of possession. But sometimes when it goes down, Steve, it just goes down.
Now we got another whistle. And we've got...
Oh, Anna, you were so close. You can't be anywhere past the end line. He's got to be over there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I think they're waving off the spectators sitting behind the goal, which is, you know, considered maybe a danger zone. Because the one kid sitting on the mat back there is the ball boy, but Dad's got to clear out of there.
Yeah, well.
Because the ball boy's got a helmet on, so I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But Dad had to clear out. So we've got it sorted out, and play resumes. Riley Nelson spins around. Wayzata's been very patient. Give Hopkins credit, though. They haven't given up a good look. Now they find a man coming down the middle, back to the right, and Braden Nelson now down to his brother Riley. As they play catch behind the net. Here's Brooks Hansen. They're working it a little bit closer right now, but here's a shot uncorked, and that'll skip all the way back to the net. And stop there by the mat and the ball boy.
He's got a baseball glove on by that. He's ready to go.
Oh, no, it snuck under the mat back there.
Bummer. Good for you. He went right after it, though.
Yeah, that's right. Here's Wayzata again. Once again, the clouds really starting to lighten up a little bit. We're getting more and more breaks in the clouds, and after a day of heavy rain, that's certainly a welcome sight. The turf field, though, obviously in great shape. Here's another shot out on top for Braden Nelson. This one sails over the net and out of play. So Nelson, they're trying to get him some shots.
He just is having trouble hitting the net.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to get it in on Surstock. They've gone over the top of the cage.
You'd think for a kid with 19 goals, he'd be hitting the net a little bit more, but he just might be having one of those days.
Yeah, he's trying to take him up top,
and
it hasn't panned out. Now they get it into the middle in a good scoring spot, and that one skips in, and it's saved by Surstock. Christopher Thury, a sophomore, with 10 goals on the season, and that shows Surstock's got some skill. He covered up beautifully.
Well, deflected it off, even though he didn't catch it in the basket. He got enough of a basket to deflect it off to the side.
And now here's Braden Nelson, couldn't handle it. Now he gets it back on a feed from Thies. He just doesn't have a lot of running room or a lot of room to move out there. Schreck's done a pretty good job defensively. He's hounded Braden Nelson for Hopkins. So give Josh Schreck some credit. Now they get it inside. The goalie can't grab it in Surstock. And now the pass comes to the outside and gets away from Braden Nelson. We got a turnover on Wayzata, so a good job by Hopkins. They held their own.
They did. They got aggressive when they had to, and Surstock came up tight when they needed him to. And, you know, of course, Wayzata missed the net a lot, though, too. And they had their opportunities, but we'll see if Hopkins can do some here. I'd love to see him get that goose egg off the scoreboard here in the last minute.
They just haven't had a lot of zone time. They finally get it into the zone. Let's see what they can do with it. Very aggressive Wayzata. Defensively, as you might expect. Here's Jackson James, a sophomore, 4 goals on the year for Hopkins. But Todd Frickman talked about this guy and said, you know, he's a good player and is really coming into his own, and he's a big kid for a sophomore as well.
Yeah, they've scored a total of 20 goals, so he's got a fifth of the goals that they've scored this year. So
yeah, and he just forces his way in there. And getting turned away is James, but James showed pretty good power there. Now gets it into the middle and a catch by Moore. Then Moore loses the handle, and here comes Wayzata the other way, and now we have a stick down and the ball down. And the ball's going to come to the near side, and it's going to go out of play. And Hopkins is going to hang on, so this is really the most possession time we've seen for the Royals. Here's James. Let's see what James can do. He gets to the middle, takes a shot, takes another shot. There was a pass in, or throws one in on net. It's grabbed by Mayberry, kind of a floater. And then Mayberry gets it to the outside, and that's the end of the quarter. Number 2 and the end of the half. And the sun is now out in full force here at Wayzata. Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse. It is number 13, Wayzata, leading Hopkins 5-0. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with quarters 3 and 4 in a moment. Steve Thompson and Dan Ficken here on CCX.
I adopted Benzo in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Wayzata dominated the first half, leading Hopkins 5-0 in this second-to-last regular season game for both teams. Wayzata ranked number 13 coming in. Hopkins looking for their first win of the year. But, Dan, it's been all Wayzata so far in this one.
And you just see the great ball movement here. Now watch, the ball will come right back, coming down the seam, and just a great, great shot coming down the end.
First goal of the game there for Brooks Hansen. He had 2. And then, of course, Alexander Sali got involved for Wayzata. His first of 2 goals. Great shot from the right side there. Dalton sees. And then here's a Sali goal coming up here. And Sali took a nice feed from Braden Nelson and hit the net. And Ben Surstock's been good for Hopkins. He's given up 5, but he's been pretty darn good. And then a big shot from the outside there from Brooks Hansen. And Wayzata takes a 5-0 lead into the half here in this Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse game. 1 and 2, we got a doubleheader. The girls coming up later on, Hopkins and Wayzata. Jay Wilcox will be along with Dan for the call on that one. We're going to take another break. Third quarter coming up in a moment here on the CCX.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Welcome back to Wayzata Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse. Wayzata's dominated 4 goals in quarter number 1. They add 1 in a low-scoring second quarter, and they lead at 5-0. But quite a turnaround from the first meeting on April 24th when Wayzata beat Hopkins at Hopkins 23-3. So Hopkins has got to be pleased with that. It's been a struggle, 0-7, 0-11 on the year, but they've played better today if they could limit turnovers. And then, of course, Wayzata and Minnetonka battling it out for that second spot. Eden Prairie, of course, 7-0, 9-1 overall, and ranked number 3 in the state. The Eagles are the real deal.
Yeah, they are. But, again, we're looking at the Lake Conference, and they just beat the crap out of each other during the regular season with Eden Prairie obviously having a stellar season. They are a heck of a team right now. But, I look at Wayzata 4-3. I look at Minnetonka 4-3 in the conference and stuff, and yet, these are good lacrosse teams that could beat most teams in the state. This conference just gets set up with highly qualified athletes and skilled athletes, and their conference play might be as tough as any conference in the country as far as every game being a tough game.
And those state rankings, Eastview number 1, Egan 2, then Eden Prairie, Chanhassen, and Benoit St. Margaret's. Matamidi, Prior Lake, Rosemont, Maple Grove, who we saw earlier in the week, and then Tartan round out the top 10. Anoka 11, Lakeville North 12, Wayzata 14, Bloomington Kennedy, or I should say Wayzata 13, Bloomington Kennedy 14, and Minnetonka round out the top 15 in the state. And we've got the opening face-off of quarter number 3, and it's ruled Hopkins ball.
Illegal procedure on Chris Thomas. Boy, I didn't think I'd see that. He has been spectacular as their Fogo tonight, and he's going to stay out there now. He's going to play a little defense, and he got schooled a little bit there.
Let's see if Hopkins can get set up. They're down 5-1, just underway in the third, and they turn it over. Another turnover there, and Wayzata gets it ahead on the move. Boy, nice ball movement there to break out and get it ahead. And let's see what the Trojans do here as they get it set up. Mateo Thies has seen a lot of time in this game. They get it behind the goal line, and Riley Nelson, he'll set up. Working over there with Carter DeBlack. DeBlack seeing some action. 2 goals, 2 assists. He's just a 9th grader and a big kid, too.
I'd like to see now the Hopkins get a little more aggressive and go after these Trojans with a little bit more in their defensive zone and force a turnover. Although that one wasn't forced, good turnaround for Hopkins. But hopefully let them run loose a little bit and get a little more aggressive and nasty and dirty in this half, Steve.
Matt Gertensner has done a good job defensively there. Gets it over to his goalie, Ben Surstock, who has certainly been a factor in this one. The guy we talked about right at the beginning who's played very well and now getting hammered down, Jackson James, who handles the ball a ton in the midfield spot for Hopkins. He really so far has been the only threat so far for Hopkins in this game, and he got bumped down there, and now Wayzata's going to pick it up. And now they get it right in front. There was a shot that skips by Surstock. Not sure he was ready for it. Thies runs it down and now gives it up to Riley Nelson, and he's going to set up. And, of course, he's got his brother Braden Nelson way outside on the near side. He's probably going to get a touch here pretty quick. And he finally gets a stick on it.
Down they're just not going into a dodge scenario. They're staying in their basic formation and moving the ball around and trying to cut seams. I like this.
And they opened the game this way. They opened quarter number 2, and now they open quarter number 3 with it as they try and get something going here. Alexander Solly, and now a shot goes in and goes over the end line, and Wayzata's going to hang on to it.
Yeah, the one thing that really has improved now in boys lacrosse is a lot of the criticism from the East College coaches with that we just couldn't shoot. We couldn't shoot very hard. And, boy, that has changed. Last 2 games we did before, we watched the Armstrong kids peppering it from about 20, 30 feet out and ripping it. And we've seen some pretty good shooters here.
Well, 2 goals for Brooks Hansen. That one for the outside, his second goal of the game. The only goal in quarter number 2. That was a wicked shot from the outside.
Oh, heavy.
Let's see what Wayzata does here. Here's Dalton sees good move inside, gets in on the goaltender, loses, ball down. He scrambles for it, continues to fight for it, can't come out of there with it. And finally gaining control is Hopkins. They threw it at their own net. And now Wayzata being very aggressive, picking it up over there is Braden Nelson. He has a couple of assists, but no goals. Here's a shot from the outside, and that goes all the way over the end line. And it's going to be Wayzata ball. And you saw the goaltender, Searstock, try and get out of his net and be that first man back.
Yeah.
And that would have given Hopkins the ball.
He's a good all-around player. He knows what he's doing. He's real comfortable there. And one of the problems they're having, too, Wayzata is captured over 203 ground balls, which is key in lacrosse this season. And you can see the difference it's making. They're generally winning the ground ball battle against Hopkins.
Now C's in a little 2-man game on the near side, a little too tight. Going back to pick it up is C's.
But now you see, Steve, the Hopkins get a little more aggressive on defense, and all of a sudden they're disrupting that flow.
Here's C's with a shot, and he rips one by the goaltender. Wasn't near the net. And Wayzata's going to hang on as we approach the 8-minute mark of quarter number 3. Wayzata 4 in the first, 1 in the second. They lead it 5-0. 2 goals in the game for Alexander Solly and 2 for Brooks Hansen. Here comes Wayzata. And here's finally a goal for Braden Nelson.
A little bit of a screenshot as the Trojan and the Royal were in the way, and the Hopkins goalie, I think, was screened a little bit on that one as it came across, but nice shot here. Well placed, high-low. Yeah, there was a screen there. 2 players. James is in the way, too, and screening it out, so he didn't get a good look at it. But, Braden Nelson finally on the board for his 20th of the year. Did a nice job getting it rifled into the net.
First goal, 3rd point of the day for Braden Nelson. That leads Wayzata in the point category. Now the other goal scorer, Dalton sees a goal and an assist here. 6-0 now Wayzata as we close in on the midway point of quarter number 3. And another good face-off battle. Trying to come out of there is Hopkins and John Otino. Otino can't pick it up. He continues to fight for it. And now I got a guy go down. That was Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas will trot out of there, and Wayzata's going to get it back.
They were just kind of, Hopkins was getting very aggressive that time, too. It seems like every time they do it, though, they get called for a push from behind, and that was a kind of a risky call, and it was called by a ref on the far side of the field. So, I don't know. It's just, I guess when it rains, it pours. When things aren't going well for you, they just continue to not go well for you.
Luke Marquardt with it over on the right side. Don't forget girls lacrosse coming up. These same 2 teams right here at Wayzata. Jay Wilcox, Dan Ficken with the call on that one tonight here on CCX.
It'll be an important game for section seeding. These teams are dead even, and the winner of this game, their second meeting of the season, Hopkins won the first one, and very important for how they're going to get set up in the sections.
Making a move toward the net is Marquardt. He charges in, hits the goalie right in the belly. Ben Surstock blocked it. And now we've got a ball down. It's picked up by Wayzata, and you're right, they win those ground balls.
Oh, yeah.
They are so good on the move, all these players. And Hopkins has had a ton of trouble with ground balls. I can't think of a ground ball battle they've won in this game.
Yeah, you're right. Well, they're using the old adage, first man in, second ball. So the first guy clears it out, the second guy goes for the ball, and they're playing that to a T.
Riley Nelson gets it out to the near side. Andrew Solly playing catch with Christopher Thury. Here's Solly. Solly on the move. He rips a shot. What a save by Surstock.
Very nice save. Man, had the basket in great position, didn't flinch one bit, had his nose right in on it. Nice job.
And really, goaltender in lacrosse, you've got to be fearless. You can't be afraid of that ball.
Oh, not me, man. Not me. Look at them. They're wearing nothing. Oh, my gosh, they're wearing nothing. And they'd be allowed to wear shin pads. They basically wear a chest protector and the helmet with the gloves. That's about it.
And he hung in there beautifully. We got a big ground ball fight here. And it's controlled by who else? Wayzata? Zach Larry. He's done a good job in a couple of spots like that in this game. And Larry can't grab it. And they're continuing to fight for it. Now we got a whistle.
Yeah, we got a hold. But there, we get a good look at that save here. Nice shot. Look at that. Just stayed right on it. My ball. Like he's having a Coke in an afternoon shade.
Oh, and a pipe there for Wayzata's Mateo Thies. He got it right at the net, hit the left post. It bounced out of there. Wayzata hangs on. Trojans up 6-0. Let's see what they can do here. Braden Nelson has a goal here in the quarter. 2 assists in the game. Gives it up on the left. Alexander Solly, he has a couple of goals. He moves into the middle in a good spot. Gets double teamed, goes outside. That's going to roll to the middle of the field. And it goes over the middle of the field. And now Hopkins, they've got an opportunity here. There comes Jack Slattery. Slattery waiting for a little help as they make a change. They're slow to change. And now they get it down low. Zachney. Xavier Zachney trying to spin to the front. Does for a moment, then gets further outside. Here's Slattery. And now they get it out on top to Roman Moore. Moore playing catch there with John Dion. And now they turn it over on the far side, a little too far for Jack Slattery. And we saw that early in the game where they turned it over. And
well, the first they were throwing the ball over people. Now they're not getting the pass to him, and it bounces. And, of course, if you think a goalie has a tough time with his big basket, you can only imagine what it's like for a regular field player. Wayzata, that's what they're doing so well, Steve. I mean, they get the ball up, they get it to where it needs to be, or you can really grab it with your basket and do something while you're moving.
now they go behind the net. Riley Nelson. Now they get it out on the wing as the Sun makes another brief appearance. After a rainy day, it feels pretty good. 6-0 Wayzata, late quarter number 3 now. Wayzata taking their time. Braden Nelson gets it further over on the right. And now they get down below the goal line, extended on the far side. Now we got another flag on Hopkins. That'll be their 6th penalty of the game. And at some point, they'll go a man down here, but for the moment, Wayzata maintains it.
As soon as that ball hits the ground.
Riley Nelson, they play catch, now out on the wing, and now we got to stop.
Yeah, it comes out of the box, and that 30-yard line box, once the ball comes out of that, it doesn't have to hit the ground. Once they bring it out of there, then they'll blow the whistle also. Yeah, we got a slash.
So taking a knee, John Otino. And for the 6th time in the game, Wayzata will go a man up here. And they switch personnel. Brooks Hansen comes into it. Brooks Hansen will have the ball here on the near side. Brooks a couple of goals, one in the first, one in the second, including a big-time shot from the left side in quarter number 2. He uncorked one. Here's one in the middle in the scoring zone, and what a shot there. Dalton sees his 2nd of the game.
Yeah, and this might be a situation, too, now where for the next, 2 minutes, that sun becomes a real factor for the goalies. He was almost looking right into that from that shot. If you look at the cast on the shadows here in the field, you can see where that shot came from. And you might have had a little trouble seeing that because of the sun.
Surstock didn't have a chance on that one as Seas. 2 goals in the game now, 18 on the year. And that comes at 2:44 to go here in the 3rd quarter, and now it's 7-0. Wayzata, boy, that was a big-time shot there. In the center circle, Adam Cochran for Hopkins and Chris Thomas for Wayzata. They're down low, fighting for it. Ball squirts out of there, and it's picked up by Wayzata. Brent Rhetoric. Brent Rhetoric gets it into a good spot in the middle, but it goes right in on the goaltender, Surstock. He gets it ahead, and the intended receiver there can't handle it, and it's grabbed right back by Wayzata.
That was about as clean a clear blast as you could have, and they just couldn't grab it. Man.
Riley Nelson puts the ball down on the ground. An unusual pass, Andrew Solly. Andrew Solly, a sophomore, coming in a couple of goals. He's had some big-time minutes in this game for Wayzata. Once again, they finish up at Blaine next Monday. That'll be a big challenge. The Bengals, a good team out of the Northwest Suburban. And then Hopkins next Wednesday finish the regular year home against Holy Family. Brenton Rhetoric, right of the net, goes behind. Now gets to the near side, and Thies couldn't handle the pass. Comes over to the near sideline. It's scooped up there cleanly by Andrew Solly. Here comes Wayzata with 1:30 to go in the quarter, leading at 7-0. Hopkins girls starting to warm up down to our left as they play the nightcap of this doubleheader here at Wayzata. Hopkins and Wayzata Lake Conference Lacrosse here on the CCX. Marquardt. And now Chad Herr has gone to some of those younger guys here at the end of the quarter and giving them an opportunity and see what they can do. Carter Debelak, nice feed inside and a shot from down low from Riley Nelson as he went down low with the stick, tried to go upstairs and missed the net. That was a tough shot.
That's a tough shot to pull off. It really is. If you can do it well, boy, you got yourself a real weapon. But that ball has tendency to fly on you.
Brent Rhetoric senior in there. And now they get it back down to Riley Nelson. And, of course, Riley, 14 goals, 9 assists coming in. Has an assist here. They get it to the outside. That one skips in on the net. I don't know who that hit. It hit someone in front, went wide left.
It hit Joshua Schreck there. You kind of see him limping around like, man, that kind of hurt. Ow. But he did a good job, protected his goalie.
DeBlack makes a charge from the left, now goes further outside. A little bit of a wild pass, flagged down by Redrick. And now Redrick will carry, and he'll shoot. And that'll go wide, out of play. We're under 10 seconds to go in the third quarter. Other games in the lake, Eden Prairie at Minnetonka playing right now. And tonight, Edina hosts a non-conference tilt with Bloomington Jefferson.
We're getting down to the end of the season now. You get to see some nice non-conference games, good matchups like Wayzata Blaine that's coming up this week. And a good opportunity to kind of get things straight out as we get ready to start the second season called Sections.
That's right. 3 quarters in the books now, 2 goals in the quarter for Wayzata. Braden Nelson is first of the game, 20th of the year. The other goal, Dalton Sees, his second of the game. Wayzata leads at 7-0 after 3 quarters of play. The fourth quarter coming up in a moment here on CCX.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
Steve Thompson, Dan Ficken, and our great CCX crew here on this Thursday night. Wayzata leading Hopkins in boys lacrosse, Lake Conference style. And one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is Wayzata's schedule this year. They opened with a win over Minnetonka. Good team. They're right with them in the standings. They beat White Bear Lake 17-3. They lost to Eden Prairie 9-4 early in the year. Then, of course, they beat Hopkins 23-3. They got a 7-6 win over Edina. They beat a ranked Matamidi team 8-5. Matamidi right now 6th in the state.
Yeah.
They got beat by Eden Prairie 11-7. They beat Minnetonka 11-8. Skippers right now ranked number 15 at conference foe. The one that maybe stands out for them is that 10-5 loss to Edina. That's maybe one they'd want to have back.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown on them. They probably didn't play very well, and going around Edina's not having a particularly good season. But then the next game, what happens?
They beat Chan.
Yep.
And, of course, they're ranked number 4. So Chanhasen's the real deal, and Wayzata beat them 7-6, and they have a 7-0 lead going to the fourth over Hopkins. And then they got a big one at Blaine that'll be another solid test on Monday night before Wayzata heads for section play. Wayzata wins another one. Chris Thomas doing a good job in that face-off circle all game long, and let's see what Wayzata is able to do here late in the game as they get some of the youngsters some more playing time. And they set up, and they've started each quarter. They really spread them out. They started in the first, the second, the third, now the fourth, and really spread them out.
Yep, they sure have. Done a great job. Been very patient on offense. You know, again, knowing that, you know, the quantity of goals isn't important. What is important is you just have more than the other team at the end of the game. And, you know, they've taken shots when it's open. They really haven't forced anything. They've done a lot of good creation. You can see the talent there. And, you know, this is good. You know, the funny thing is, Steve, is when you get into a rotation like this, it's important, especially when you're playing against good teams. If you got a lead, if you can possess the ball like this and run time off the clock, boy, that's a big bonus.
They lead it 7-0. They are in command and have been since the start of this game. They work it in a little bit. Good charge there by Brenton Redrick, a senior, who's getting some playing time here in quarters number 3. What a pass inside, and what a scoop and score there by Wayzata.
Braden Nelson.
Yeah, Braden Nelson went down low to catch that pass and then came back up with it and beat the goaltender Surstock. That was a great play there by Braden Nelson.
Now you keep your eye on that name. That's going to become a name here in the next few years as far as high school lacrosse, and I would imagine he's going to have a pretty good college career also.
Second goal of the game. 4th point of the game. He had 2 assists in quarter number 1, so 4 points to lead Wayzata, and it's now 8-0 Trojans. But that was really a tough catch there, and he was able to just, in one motion, pull the trigger. That was a beautiful goal.
Yeah. This is one thing that intrigues me about lacrosse, too. We've watched Chris Thomas here take faceoffs, and that's pretty much all Chris Thomas does, but he wins them. His position is called Fogo. Face-off, go-off. And you can see, there he goes, number 1. He's coming off the field.
But he's done a really good job, and it's so important in this game. It's huge.
Colleges give 4-year rides for a Fogo.
Yeah.
That's all they do. And it is so important in this game to control those faceoffs. And against competition that they've played, to have a 64% win rate, ooh, that's pretty good.
You know, you hear a lot about someone for the Wild like Mikko Koivu wins his share of draws and guys in the NHL. But in this game, it's just about as important as any other spot. It is huge, and he's been great. Chris Thomas for Wayzata and being able to control that. Here's a nice pass inside, and Brooks Hansen gets a shot off. Misses high and right. But that was a good play there as Hansen made the cut.
Well, we've seen him unload a couple here, too, tonight, and I'll tell you what, he's, the goalie's really stuck his head in there, is not feared at all, afraid at all. Surstock has done a great job tonight.
Alexander Solly with the good feed there to Brooks Hansen, who was looking for goal number 3. There's 3 Trojans with 2 goals apiece. Solly, Hansen, and now Braden Nelson as they lead it 8-0.
Well, like I said, we haven't seen much dodging out of the Trojans, and they've tried it a couple times, and Hopkins has stepped up pretty good. Their D has stopped those dodges. They're not getting beat on them, and they're actually getting stick involved and body involved, and it stops them.
Under 9 to go in the game. Here's a nice move to the net. Boy, that was a great speed move by Brenton Redrick.
He got a good pick up top. They finally separated his defender from him. We'll watch it right there. And then nobody came over to slide real quick. Six's responsibility was there, and he just didn't get over in time to push him farther outside. And great quick move there by
Redrick's 5th of the year. Well, that was beautiful.
That was. We're starting to see some of these kids who probably didn't get a whole lot of chance to play are getting a chance to play and showing some of their skills. And now we got a new face-off guy in for Wayzata.
And I can't see the number of who jumped in there. Of course, Chris Thomas did a lot of the work, and now in that center circle.
Number 9 must be one of the kids coming up from JV. He's not a regular roster, remember, but so Hopkins got control of the ball for one of the very few times in the game, and let's see what they can do with it.
And, of course, the guy who's handled it when they've had it, Jackson James, out on top. They get it over to the right side, Jack Slattery. And right now for Hopkins, just trying to maintain possession of the ball. And there's another turnover on the far side as Adam Cochran couldn't hang on to it. He did retrieve, and now he gets it toward the middle, and John Dion. Dion comes to the near side, and Leo Reuter gets into the middle, can't get his shot away. He's being watched there very carefully by John Hess.
You saw a real good slide by John Hess there. He was getting away from his regular guy, and Hess stepped right up, and, there was another nice play defensively.
Yeah, turnover there. Here comes Wayzata, and here come the Trojans on the move. Pass ahead. Shot by Feast. Lost the ball, and we got the ball down.
Push from behind.
Yeah. Wayzata's going to hang on to it, and Mateo Thies is going to get an opportunity. He's played some minutes in this one.
Yep.
Done a good job. Generally been on the right side of the field. Braden Nelson is out there. Braden's got a couple of goals in the game. Actually, we have 4 Trojans with 2 goals apiece in this game. 7:15 to go, 9-0 Wayzata. They get it behind the net. A little bit too far, but it doesn't go out of play. It was knocked down, and now Thies will get it and go right back behind the net. As they spread it out again on the perimeter as they work it around. They get it further down behind the net. Here's Carter Debelak.
Wow. Just quick ball movement. Quick ball movement.
Really moved the ball around well, and even some of these youngsters who don't get a ton of time in a regular situation in a 9-0 game. Some guys who maybe wouldn't play are out there right now. Once again, bright sunshine right now at Wayzata. That's certainly a good sign for this key girls game coming up between Hopkins and Wayzata. And that's on the way next. Jay Wilcox and, of course, Dan Ficken with the call on that one. Dan will hang around for the doubleheader tonight. Hopkins had the ball for a moment. Right back to Wayzata. Here's Braden Nelson. Nelson gives it up, and then it's turned over again, and here comes Hopkins. Hopkins can't handle it, and then they shovel it back to the goalie, Ben Searstock. And Searstock's been very comfortable just firing it way down the field. And he goes way over the center of the field, down into the zone. This might pay dividends. Now, gets by the Hopkins player. The intended receiver there was Zackney. He couldn't grab it. Now Zackney fights for it behind the net, but it's grabbed by Matt Mayberry, the backup goalie who's playing. And, of course, Will Rammer, the regular goalie for Wayzata, injured, not available. Once again, Matt Mayberry hasn't seen a ton of action in this game. And now Wayzata, as we approach 5 to go, trying to get to double digits.
Has Hopkins had a shot on goal this half at all, Steve? I don't think they have.
I don't think so. They just haven't been able to hang on to the ball and generate anything offensively and get organized. They've had all sorts of trouble. Really, you give Wayzata credit defensively. They've been very aggressive and have been all over them.
Yeah, they haven't had an opening to get a shot from way outside either.
There's Wayzata, Luke Marquardt with it. They're happy to just let that clock roll. And now they get it into the middle, and trying to get his third of the game there was Brooks Hansen, but Hansen couldn't handle the pass. And now Hopkins is going to get another opportunity, and Ben Searstock, the goaltender, will give it up on his right side. They'll come over the middle of the field. Long pass caught there nicely by Roman Moore. And Moore sets up over on the right side. That was a good long pass. Moore hauled it in. Now Reuter behind the net, protecting that ball with the right hand, being hounded defensively back there. Boy, good battle defensively by Zach Larry. And he gets in front, shot off by Reuter. And I don't know if Mayberry made the save or it hit the post.
I think Mayberry got a little piece of it with his basket. We didn't hear that clink like we usually do when it hits the post.
Yeah, Larry with it. Zach Larry goes behind the net. Nice catch there by Zackney. Zackney being bumped. And it really Wayzata all over the ball as you'd expect. And then a stick check pokes it away. And really a good job defensively there.
And a timeout.
First time out of the game, 3:21 to go. Wayzata leading Hopkins 9-0. It is boys lacrosse here on CCX.
Well, we'll see what happens now. You know what? Good timeout by Hopkins. You know, one thing these kids can do for themselves, even though they're having a tough season, is really work to get that zero, that goose egg off the scoreboard right now. And hopefully they'll set up a play, probably get it into James's hands if they could, to get a shot anyway in a particular spot. So I would imagine they'll do some rotation. and then bring it back to him and let him get his arms unwound and then let him rip one here.
Wayzata, 4 goals in the first, 1 in the second, 2 goals in the third, and now 2 in the fourth. And they've had very balanced scoring. 2 goals for Brooks Hansen, 2 goals for Dalton Seas, 2 for Alexander Solly, and now 2 for Braden Nelson. The other guy to get his name in the scoring column for the Wayzata Trojans is Brenton Redrick. 9 goals for Wayzata. Hopkins has been shut out. And you're exactly right, Dan. Here's an opportunity for Hopkins. This has probably been the most organized they've been offensively all game.
Yeah.
And for an opportunity to maybe run a play coming out of this timeout and get a good look at Mayberry and break that shutout.
Well, let's keep our eye on number 18 now. We'll see what we do. If that's who should get the ball here. Coach likes him. He's scored for them already. Let's see if he can break this shutout.
So they get it to James. James a move into the middle. He's going to give it up on the right side, but there's nobody there, and it may have been deflected out of his stick over to the right side. I almost felt like he got into the middle. He should have probably ripped a shot and taken his chances.
Yeah,
he may have tried to, but it popped out of there.
Yeah, they were looking. Some of the coaches on the Hopkins side were looking for a slash. They had the kind of arms up, or they were looking at, why didn't you shoot it? He kind of in a tough situation. Again, Wayzata playing that tough D, aggressive D.
Let's see what Wayzata does. We got a ground ball, and Hopkins comes out of there with that ground ball. Rare turnover for Wayzata. There was a flurry of turnovers for the Trojans early in the game. And now Hopkins turns it right back over, and here comes Wayzata the other way. They get it down low. Boy, that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
From Max Ruland. And he got it all the way in to Carter DeBlack. That was a great play there by Ruland.
Oh, them long sticks, boy, I'll tell you what, they like getting some points. They don't get a chance very often. They'll use shoot it, but they got a nice, unselfish pass down low.
So DeBlack gets his third of the year off the assist from Ruland, his first point of the year. And, of course, he grabbed that turnover, and he was on a charge. And now it's 10-0 Wayzata with 2:36 to go. And that, as you say, for anybody playing defense, getting on the score sheet, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
And now we've got a battle in the middle, and how about that? Chris Thomas wins another face-off. He's been so good.
He's killing him, just killing him. He's really good at it, man. I'd imagine we'll hear an announcement from the college on him. He has just been fantastic.
That is a real battle of leverage every time they set it down. It's too bad we can't get a camera out on the field in that spot. I don't know how that would work, but it is an amazing thing to be able to see how hard those guys fight for that face-off, because it's here. Here's Braden Nelson trying to get his third of the game into the scoring zone, and he gets it done. We got a flag. Will the goal count? Let's see. It will. There it is. All 3 goals coming here in quarters 3 and 4. Braden Nelson now has 22 on the year.
Watch the move here. Goes off to his left, and he gets knocked down pretty much, but recovers enough, keeps it in his stick, and breaks the double team and rips a shot high-low. He's a player. I'll tell you what, he's a player.
He's got 3 goals, 2 assists to lead Wayzata, and that was a thing of beauty. He took a big shot on the way to the net and was able to fight it off and stay on his feet. Tremendous strength and balance.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Figure out when this kid gets to be about a senior and he puts on about 15 more pounds, probably grows a few inches, he's going to be a very, very scary lacrosse player.
Yeah, Chad Hur's got to be thrilled with that. We got a ground ball picked up by Wayzata. They win another ground ball battle. They lead at 11-0 with 1:30 to go in the game. And Wayzata is going to extend their conference record to 5-3. They're going to jump to 7-4 overall. and then have a big one at Blaine. That'd be a fun one on Monday night up at Blaine. Couple of good teams there to close out the regular season. Then it's on to the section playoffs, and I would assume we'd have some section playoffs here on CCX as we move forward.
Well, with Wayzata having as good an opportunity as anybody to get to state coming through this section, they're probably they're going to end up playing Maple Grove or St. Michael right now if you looked at the records and stuff. But that Maple Grove Wayzata game, if it does happen, is going to be a fun game to watch.
Here's Alexander Solly in a bid for his third goal of the game. He was turned away by Ben Surstock, and he clears out to center, and Wayzata comes right back. They've tried the long clear, and it just hasn't worked out. They've been pinned down most of the game. Here's Alexander Solly trying for three, picks up the ground ball, spins out of there, now gets it out on top. Coming up on 20 seconds to go in this game. They get it into the middle. Here's Mateo Thies. He can't do anything. And now they get it left side of the net, and that's Brooks Hansen with his third of the game.
Boy, just the skill level here in comparison to both these teams. Again, they're going to work through it, going to break a double team right there, and gets it in tight. And he can shoot, by gosh. He can find corners with a little velocity.
Well, I'll tell you, his second goal of the game, the only goal in quarter number 2, Dan, he ripped that one from the outside.
Cannon shot, you betcha. Yeah, he's got some velocity.
So now he has his third to join Braden Nelson with 3. That's just going to about do it. 12-0 our score. And off the face-off, we have a ground ball. And on the run, picking it up nicely there is Brenton Redrick. He had a goal. Redrick's going to set up. That's going to do it. It is a final here at Wayzata. Lake Conference Boys Lacrosse. Wayzata, for the second time this year, beats Hopkins. Today's final 12-0. And once again, Braden Nelson, 3 goals, 2 assists. Brooks Hansen added 3 goals. Dalton Seas had a couple. Alexander Solly had a couple. And Wayzata with 4 goals in the first. Really never looked back and were in total control. But on the flip side, you got to give a Hopkins and their goaltender, Ben Surstock. Without Surstock, this could have been 20-0.
Oh, could have easily have been. He really stepped up and played well, and just doesn't have a lot of support around him. The other part too, that defense gets tired if you're playing out there all the time, and Hopkins just lacking big time in the midfield and attack. They just don't have the skill level in comparison to the other teams in the lake, but they battled. Amen to them. It's tough. They're 0-12 right now, and they kept fighting hard, and you got to respect them for that. So, win here now. I think the Trojans moving on to Blaine. Big game for them. It'll be a big test for them coming up Monday night, and we'll see what they do and see how that affects them in the seeding.
Hopkins closes it out at home next Wednesday against Holy Family. As Dan pointed out, Hopkins now 0-8 in league play and 0-12 overall. Wayzata 5-3. They can't run down Eden Prairie for the Lake Conference title, but they can finish in second, and they move to 7-3 overall. And of course, Minnetonka is taking on Eden Prairie, so this one could be big. It could ensure second place in the lake for Wayzata. Big thanks to our crew here at CCX. Big thanks to Dan Ficken, my play-by-play partner. I'm Steve Thompson, reminding you of the final score once again. Boys lacrosse action. Number 13 Wayzata beats Hopkins 12-0. Stay tuned. We've got girls lacrosse, these same 2 teams. Jay Wilcox and Dan will have the play-by-play for you here on CCX. Good evening.